Welcome to Paris! Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm now in Paris. Gare de Lyon station is located just south of the city center. The station serves The iconic Galeries Lafayette dates from the late 19th century and has become a genuine symbol of the city of light. Eight cousins arrived in 1893 and they opened the business. Throughout the first 10 years of the shop's existence, the company continued to acquire space in neighboring buildings. However, the cousins' ambition didn't stop there. More or less 96 departments were added, together with a smoking room, a tea room, and a beautiful reading room. A terrace on top of the Galeries Lafayette offers a stunning panorama of Paris, where I also experienced standing on that terrace, and it was really fun. Fontes Arts collapsed and the chain link fence just didn't take it anymore. The bridge had become a huge attraction. Dramatically crowning the heights of the Montmartre quarter, the Basilica is a relative newcomer to Paris. Built on the site of a Benedictine abbey destroyed during the French Revolution of 1789. It was completed in 1919. Eiffel Tower, here I come! This is the most visited paid monument in the world. 6.91 million people ascended it in 2015. The tower is 324 meters or 1,063 feet tall, about the same height as an 81-story building, and the tallest structure in Paris. Its base is square, measuring 125 meters or 410 feet on each. The Eiffel Tower becomes a permanent feature of the Paris skyline. Originally intended as a temporary exhibit, the Eiffel Tower was almost torn down and scrapped in 1909. But I'm happy I was able to see and witness the 360 perfect view of the Paris. Here's another information. The history of the construction of the Eiffel Tower, 1887 to 1889. Despite of the uproar, the frail iron tower could nonetheless see the difference. To understand the history of the Eiffel Tower, it is important to know that its construction followed different steps. The construction itself lasted 2 years. June 1884, the project began and the first drawings were done. January 28, 1887, the works began. April 1st, 1888, the first stage was completed. August 14, 1888, the second stage was completed. March 31, 1889, the third and the final stage, in which the tower was completed in its entirely ended. The Eiffel Tower was inaugurated on March 31, 1889. Gustave Eiffel walked the 1,710 steps to the top of the tower to the place that tricolored French flag at its summit. At the first, the tower was 312 meters high. The Eiffel Tower history represents a part of a national heritage. It has been the symbol of France and Paris for decades. But when Gustave Eiffel achieved its construction in 1889, the tower was only meant to be a temporary in the Parisian landscape and was for being the Parisians' favorite landmark. The most popular tourist place in Paris has stretched to the Parisian skies for 127 years. Although now symbolic of France, it wasn't meant to last. Without a doubt, the turning point in the Eiffel Tower history took place at the 1889 Universal Exposition. The Eiffel Tower history was not an easy one. At the same time, many were against the building and voiced their concern in a letter entitled Artists Against Mr. Eiffel's Tower, stating the tower to be a threat against the aesthetic nature of Paris. An iron tower erected smack in the heart of Paris was considered unacceptable, a stark contrast to the elegance and refined beauty of the city. Can you see his name on top of the table? He's the one who designed the Eiffel Tower. He is a French structural engineer and an architect. Now I am going down. Additional information, the success story of the Eiffel Tower. Every year, approximately 7 million visitors climb the tower. Its success is such that many countries all over the world have replicated the tower more or less identically to the original one. It was grateful to see the beauty of the Paris on the Eiffel Tower. Soon, guys, you will see the lightning of the tower while riding on a boat for another spectacular viewing. Have fun! As you can see on this video, the first level, then the next is the second, and the last, the third, or the top level. Remember guys, that this tower was built for 2 years' time. Imagine how it was built. Trocadero or Gardens of the Trocadero is an open space in Paris, located in the 16th arrondissement of Paris, bounded to the northwest by the wings of the Palace de Clé, and to the southeast by the Seine and the Point de Lyon, with the Eiffel Tower on the opposite bank of the Seine. This is what I saw when I was on top of the tower. The main feature, called the Fountain of Warsaw, is a long basin or water mirror with 12 fountains creating column of water 12 meters high, 24 smaller fountains 4 meters high, and 10 arches of water. At one end, facing the sun, is 20 powerful water cannons able to project a jet of water 50 meters. It's so nice to see the beauty of this fountain. Hi guys, it's nice to see here. Come and visit the beauty of the Paris, and this is the most wonderful fountain that I've ever seen in my life. My dreams come true, and this is the reality. I'm so happy to be here, guys. I hope you could also visit here. It was fun. Hi guys, having fun here. So nice, beautiful scenery I've ever seen in my life. Here I am at the Arc de Triomphe. This is the city's second most iconic monument after the Eiffel Tower. I just got this from the internet, the aerial view. It's really very nice. Anyway, I'll continue. Older, shorter, but far more symbolically important. Indeed, the island on which it stands, in the center of the vast traffic junctions of L'Étoile, is Church of Saint Severine is one of the best cathedrals in Paris that you can visit. The reason for that is an appealing combination of low visitor amounts and one of the most interesting interiors of all Parisian churches. Centuries of history burned in Notre Dame last April 15, 2019, one of the world's most historic landmarks. This is not the first time that Notre Dame has been damaged and in need of restoration. Its first stone was set in 1163 under the reign of the King Louis VII. Hi guys, I'm on my way to Chateau de Versailles. Maroon road is exclusively for the bikers and the gray one is for people who are walking. I just found this aerial view from the internet. Palace of Versailles, an aerial view of the marble courtyard and the royal court in 2014. Behind the middle three arches window in the king's bedroom since 1701. Behind it in the background Apollo Basin and Great Canal. Palace of Versailles, Garden Facade, the Corps de Logis. Behind the arch windows of the middle floor is the Mirror Hall. View over the South Parterre to the Corps de Logis. The Palace of Versailles in the neighboring city of Paris is one of the largest place complex in Europe and was the main residence of the kings of France from the middle of 17th century until the outbreak of the French Revolution. The Baroque building, the largest extension of which more than half a kilometer, is considered to be a highlight of European palace architecture and served from the 17th to the 19th century as a model to numerous other castles buildings. Originally built by Philibert Leroy as a hunting lodge for King Louis XIII. The interior washes were created by Charles Le Brun, and the famous gardens were created by André Lenitre. During its time as a residence, the palace was inhabited almost continuously by a court of several thousand people and formed the cultural and political center of France. The castle has been used as a museum since the 19th century. It is now open to visitors as well as the extensive gardens and the three other pleasure castles, while the central building with the State Hall of the 17th and 18th centuries can be seen in its original form. The large side wings house the Museum of French History, which was established in 19th century. In 1979, the Palace of Versailles was added to the UNESCO World Heritage List. Versailles by Tylosine. The Palace of Versailles invited electronic music composer Tylosine to spend a day and 3 nights recording in full immersion to the sounds of Versailles. Clock, movements, harpsichords, locks, creaking floors, a variety of sounds were picked out to compose Versailles, or Versailles, a new and original piece of music. Campus dedicated to arts and crafts at Versailles. The Palace of Versailles is pursuing its ambition to pass on French skills and expertise in heritage and crafts by hosting a next-generation campus in the Great Stables. The project is being rolled out by the Versailles Education Authority alongside more than 100 partners. It has the backing of Île-de-France region and house design and Yves Lines department. Three Desrines, 1 year after the Gallery des Rois,
Angelica, we will go back here
are unveiling the
with
Gallery
you and
des
Doc.
Reims.
See how
Collection
big
in
it
tribute
is.
to 4
Actually,
iconic queens.
inside the
This
forest,
collection
there
of
are so
4
many
crystal
gardens
wine glasses,
inside.
inspired
See,
by
right and
Versailles
left.
decors,
We're just
once
in the
again
middle.
celebrates the bonds
So,
of glass
the
making
middle, and
known
then you'll
how
see the
and
schloss or
historic
the
friendship between the two
the palace.
institutions. The gift case is available only by free
right
order
side,
between 1 or 1st
huge
of June and 30th of
Garden
September
side. There's also
2020,
restaurant.
with profits going to the restoration and refurnishing of the Palace of Versailles. Restoration of the chapel. 3 years to span the centuries,
Look at the forest.
more than 40 years
Look at
after
the
its
forest.
last major restoration. The Royal Chapel
we
requires urgent
wanted to have a
intervention
cable.
on the roof timbers.
It's better
the roof
also with the
and
bike.
the decorative leads work, the statues and window frames, and stained glass. This video, you'll see the sign of the king. The Royal Chapel has been under renovation for 840 days. The end of the construction is scheduled for spring year of 2021. Fountain shows and musical garden. The Palace and Estate of Versailles reopened last June 6th. In order to welcome visitors in the best conditions, precautions and measures are taken. All visitors of the museum shall wear a mask and timed entry tickets are mandatory for the palace. You can use the golf car while on tour. Remember, don't forget your driver's license as well. Of course, and you can also rent a bicycle. It will be better to ride than to walk because the garden is so big. The gardens cover some 800 hectares of land, much of which is landscape in the classic French formal garden style. Palace of Versailles Gardens is one of the largest gardens ever created. Work on the gardens started at the same time as the work on the Palace of Versailles and lasted for around 40 years. When the Versailles Garden were complete, they included 372 statues, 55 fountains, and over 32 kilometers of canals. Imagine guys how the people made this garden and castles during those years. It's really amazing creations and I really love this place. I already watched on Netflix the history of King Louis VII. I hope I could still come back here with my friends or with my family. As I promised, I am here again in the Eiffel Tower to witness the illuminations and light show. The Eiffel Tower's dramatic night lighting lit by more than 300 spotlights orange along its corners, and the tower takes the outdoor light highlight the structure and reveal
Concepita all'inizio del secolo, l'ingegner Gustave Eiffel per i bisogni dell'esposizione universale. Questa struttura portata un ingegnoso sistema di illuminazione sopravvenuto quello creato da Citroën nel 1925 e un trasmettitore in funzione del 1914.
every year, and yet this doesn't affect it, and it doesn't pose any risk to the public either. When the tower was inaugurated in 1889, gas was the only available option for lighting as it was several years before electricity developed. 10,000 gas lights were installed to accentuate the tower's forms. At night, it was lit up by the ground with spotlights. Electricity arrives in 1900 and a new spectacular illumination in 1985. As promised, I bought macarons for my child, one of Paris' best chocolate makers. Thank you for watching guys. Please don't forget to subscribe. God bless all. Bye!